What's up, everybody? Welcome to Song 43, a podcast for those of you looking to get a deeper look at how this creator creates while being a mom, working full-time, and doing all the things. This week, all the things finds me in Chicago, more specifically Skokie, Illinois, where I'm here for an incredible training program that Shore puts on for its associates, not puts on, but sponsors for its associates. And I am learning all the things. So doing all the things is usually part of what I do, and now I'm learning all the things. But today I figured I'd change it up and I would go live because, why not? Why not live on the edge? Because after going to creator camp and hanging out with my friends, new and old, and just learning all the things, I wanted to put it into practice and just say, forget it, I'm going to go live because I'm already recording this podcast usually as a single take stream of consciousness. And so I just said, this time I'm just going to incorporate the live settings and see what happens. What could go wrong? I mean, the problem is right now, I can't see any comments that come in, I don't think, because I have that window open, but we'll see if anybody's there. So if you are, please let me know, because I would love to interact with you in real life and, find out what's going on as I'm doing this. Because so I'm in Chicago, I'm in Skokie, doing all the things, learning all the things, and it's focusing on leadership and how to give feedback in a constructive way. Now, I did the Women of NAM Leadership Summit 2 years ago now in October, which is pretty crazy. And 3 years ago. Oh my gosh. Whoa. My mind is just blown. It was like 2 years ago, but there's been 2 other cohorts. Now I'm just rambling. Anyway, we learned how to do something called give feedback using SBI. So situation, behavior, impact. And then today we learned SBIA, which is an action. If you're not familiar with this, it's a really cool method of providing feedback to people where it doesn't produce, or theoretically, doesn't produce a reaction. It gives you neutrality so that you can give feedback to whomever you're trying to give it to, whether it be your direct reports or whether it be your family member. And it does it in a way that theoretically lets the feedback be heard. So what does it mean? So what's an example? So situation, behavior, impact, and action. So situation is very specific. So let's say this morning, so a time when I went to grab my coffee, I would be speaking to a person. So this guy in my cohort group, when I went to grab coffee, there was only one hazelnut creamer left, and you had just said that it was your favorite, but you gave it to me out of generosity. Okay, that's the situation, behavior. The impact was you made me feel really great because and happy because I really love that creamer in my coffee specifically. So it was nice. So situation, this morning at the coffee place, behavior, you gave me that last creamer, impact, it made me feel awesome. And an action could be, so you should continue doing that because it's great. I mean, if it's a positive one, you don't really have to give an action. But when it's a tricky one, so last week, when we were on our weekly call, situation, behavior, you made a comment about someone's age. That's the behavior. Impact, it made them feel, or you can only do it about yourself. It made me feel targeted or whatever. Action, perhaps you can not do that again or rethink how you would speak when speaking about someone's age or so. God, those were shitty examples. I'm really sorry. But by getting into the habit of that, it gives you that way of giving feedback where you don't say you're always or you never, which they say in like couples work, like you and relationship work, that you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't speak in absolutes. So it's really handy for that. So it's a way of getting out of that habit by saying a situational based thing. So a very specific period of time, a very specific behavior, and how it made you feel, because feelings you can't argue with. I mean, you can try, but people's feelings are facts. That's what we learned today. It's a fact to the person who is feeling it. And I was like, wow, that really resonated. So anyway, we're learning all these things. And I've already learned that particular skill set from the Women of NAM Leadership Summit, which I'm super honored to have been part of. But now I get to put it into practice in a new way with other Shore associates. So it's kind of cool to, to really, I don't know, watch that happen again in real life and watch people experience it for the first time and like stumble through it. Because when we did it at Women of NAM, it was the same thing. People would be like, too general or too much detail. And that's the other thing with SBIs. You don't want to wax poetic and you don't want to provide excuses or reasoning behind it. So you wouldn't say, I didn't really have anything negative to say about this person, but, and then give your SBI. You would just say your SBI. And it's nice because when I find myself kind of drifting off track or going towards that, I don't want to upset anybody, or I have really difficult feedback that I need to give, like just going back into that habit of not speaking the truth or getting it all muddy with my personal opinions, no, state the facts, state the situation, state the behavior that was good or bad, state the impact, and then give an action. So that's what I'm doing this week. So I'm learning how to do that. And I'm taking what I learned at eCam and putting it in eCam Creator Camp and put it into play and into practice. So I'm hoping that there are people listening and watching. If you watched last week's or last episode, you may remember that I was in a hotel room, much like I am in a hotel room right now. Although this one is slightly nicer, but I'm once again using my iPhone as my camera. In eCam Live, and I'm using my MV88 Plus as my microphone, which this thing is just so stinking cute. Now, I did switch the polar pattern to cardioid, so that means that it's directional and it's theoretically reducing the sound coming in from the rear and the sides because my computer, once again, sounds like it's about to burst into flames. But here's the difference if you're watching and listening. I'm going to point the microphone towards my computer so you can hear just how much it's actually blocking. So here's my computer with the microphone pointed directly at it. And here's the microphone pointed directly at me. So it's a bit of a difference, right? It's a bit of a difference. But it's still nice to have on the go because it's so portable. And I can change things in it that make it really special. Like I can change how the polar pattern picks up, but for all intents and purposes. And here I'm using cardioid. So what else is happening? So we have Halloween coming up this week. And I know several people and parents are living the dream of trying to figure out what their child should be wearing, shouldn't be wearing. God only knows, like there are so many different things that the kids are thinking about and they get so excited and you want to be able to make those dreams come true and make it a reality. But the fact is my daughter is being a neon construction worker. Like that's not even a thing. You know what we were when we were growing up? The Incredible Hulk, which was a shitty plastic mask and some sort of like plastic costumey thing that we threw on. And then we went outside and ran around and I don't know, lived our best lives. Neon construction worker? That's not even a thing. I will give my other daughter credit for being a minion. That is a well-known costume, and I'm very proud of that one. And that will also be used in future wearings because I got her overalls, and I got her a shirt, and I got her a hat. These are all practical things. I'm at that stage of life, though, where I want Halloween costumes to become practical. That's how old I am. I mean, my kids are, old enough to now to still enjoy it, but I feel like, they're also kind of making their own choices, which is nice. Not quite as many things to maintain or manage. But we did have to return several things to Amazon with this neon construction worker costume because it's just a thing that I don't know where it came from, but things don't fit tiny 13-year-old bodies when you want to be a neon construction worker. So that's what's happening this week as well. Halloween. And I don't know what's going on with the weather here in Chicago, but they did not get the memo that it's fall because it was almost 80 degrees here. So my body has now entered in this complete state of where the hell am I and what season is it? I was able to sit outside for dinner tonight in Chicago on October 30th or 29th, which is bananas. So yeah, it's pretty much been, this month has been just a lot of travel, a lot of things going on, and a lot of stuff happening, but all super cool things to do. Ecamm Creator Camp, I can't say enough good things about it. It was very effective to meet everybody, very effective to learn all of these new skills, like just saying, forget it and go live. Here I am recording this week's episode of the podcast and streaming it at the same time because I'm going to repurpose the heck out of it. And I'm going to edit it in Descript, thanks to Jeff C. and Ian Anderson Gray for giving a killer session on post-production. So, you know, it's very liberating to be able to have these skills that I'm putting into place, and now to have this professional development that I'm here in Chicago for, thanks to Shore. Wow, that was a mouthful. And see what that kind of leads to for the rest of the year. I think I've heard a lot of, or I've seen a lot of like trends on TikTok about, what is it? Something in October where you're like making all new plans. It has some catchy name that I don't know what it is. So I feel very inspired in October as well. I have a lot of songs about October, a lot of songs about fall. And so I'm just embracing all these new skills and trying to take it all in, because if you're not learning and growing, you're dying. So I'm trying to put all of those into practice. So what are you doing out there in the world this week and today? Throw it in the comments if you're here watching or listening live. And what has been affecting you from the standpoint of the environment, the changes in the weather? Are you feeling inspired? Are you feeling nervous as hell? Because we are on the verge of a very big election that is weighing heavy on a lot of souls. What does that feel like? You know, for me, I am trying to pay attention while also burying my head in the sand. Don't know if anyone else can relate to that statement. But yeah, I'm very nervous. So next episode, we will have elected a new president, and I'm scared. I'm scared to see what happens. In music news, I reposted a piece of content today for a song that I recorded the last time I was in Chicago, or I think, not important, in May, when I recorded with Dovidas and Sean Daniel, which I talk about on the podcast. If you want to listen to that, it's fun. And I reposted a piece from a recording that we did of my song, Not Responsible. And I tried something different. I tried putting a different hook at the beginning of the video as a caption. I tried changing the caption, and I just repurposed a piece of content that had done okay, but it's now outperformed that piece 3 times over in the first 24 hours. So all that's to say, again, I have this inner conflict of trying to be a creator or trying to put content out that is engaging, because it makes me feel icky, but it also feels fulfilling at the same time. So if you're out there and you're making content and you're having that same sort of internal dilemma, please tell me about it. Please let me know that I'm not all alone. But it feels good to get my music out there. So the trippiest part is that I released that piece of content in May, or I guess Sean did more specifically, and it did okay. And then I just left it for a while, and then I release it all these months later and gets all this fresh blood and fresh new eyes on it. And I'm like, but everybody's seen it before. And then I'm like, nobody's seen it before. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. So let's just put it out there. And I did. So thank you to Ecamm fam for giving me the courage to just say screw it and put it out there and see what else I can repurpose in the meantime. So that was my song, Not Responsible, which hopefully I'll get mixed down and released on Spotify. I am here in Chicago. Mark Rahali is here as well, which if you are a listener of the podcast, you will know that he has been producing my album for the past 4 years. Yes, 4 years. But we've gotten really, really close on a couple of different things. So I might play a little snippet if you listen to the audio version of the podcast of Rise Up, because it is coming together so nicely and I can't wait to share it with all of you. So that's the recap. I'm here in Skokie. I'm learning all the things. I'm going to put those things into place with my team and into practice with my team. I'm making a ton of music and we're making progress on getting that music out there. And I'm here in this hotel room using whatever I had to do my setup. I'm using my iPhone camera, I'm using Ecamm Live, and I'm using my MV88 Plus and my SE215 earphones. That's all I got for you today and for this week. So I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your week. And as always, thanks for listening.